All right, guys, we've been seeing in the hobby that lately PSA 10s are running, and we always ask the question, what is the proper ratio of a PSA 9 to a PSA 10? Cajun, give me the answer. That's what I get. I get messages, well, if a 9's worth this, a 10 should be worth this. Well, if the 10's worth this, do you think this is a good deal on a 9? And I keep trying to tell people, you can't answer that question. That's a question that requires so much more criteria. The year of the card, the condition sensitivity of the card, the print run of the card, the demand of the card, the supply of the card, the gem percentage of the card. There's a whole bunch of questions that have to be answered. Today's video, you guys are going to have a blast. It literally is a comedy. This is, I've put together 5 Michael Jordan cards with astronomical disparities between their PSA 10 value and the PSA 9 value. These aren't necessarily the 5 most disparate, but these 5 all have greater than a, sit down for this, 20x ratio jumping from a PSA 9 to a PSA 10. Do you know which ones I'm going to talk about in this video? Stay tuned until the end. You're not going to believe the last one. It is eye-popping. I've talked about it on the channel before. Let's see if you remember. Thanks for watching. If you've got a bunch of unwanted inventory that you've been sitting on for days, weeks, months, years, ship it to Fanatics Marketplace and let them do all the work. Just make sure when you ship it, you use the promotional code Cajun, all capital letters, C-A-J-U-N. Hey guys, Brian with Cajun Cardboard, coming at you from the great state of Louisiana. And as I alluded to in the introduction, I'm just gonna flip through 5 cards. All 5 of these cards we've got pulled up in Card Ladder. I'm gonna show you the data. You'll recognize all 5 of these cards. They are all important cards. They're all cards that we own in one grade or another if you're a Jordan collector like me. But these cards are different really namely in one way, is that the disproportionate ratio of the PSA 9 value of these 5 cards to the PSA 10 value is eye-popping and overwhelming. If you think you know what those cards are, let me know right now. You're on the hook. You got 3 seconds to figure it out, and then we're going to start rolling. All right, let me screen share here. This is not one of the 5 cards, but this is the card that sort of led people to this discussion, right? It's when this card ran hot and went to $700,000, $800,000. That's when people were like, well, if the 10 Jordan is worth this and it's a pop 315 at the time, then the PSA 9, which is a pop this, has to be worth this. And that's when we started asking these questions, right? In 2018, when they first came out in the draft, if the Luka Doncic NTRPA is worth this, then Trae Young is not as good, but shouldn't he be worth, you know, 1/2, you know, shouldn't he be worth 50%? What's the ratio, right? And so that's where we start asking these questions. And that's why Card Ladder is such an incredible tool, because we can use the Card Ladder data to maybe find some arbitrage in the hobby. Even if you're not an investor type, you're just trying to collect these cards. Wouldn't you like to buy the cards that you think are the best value so you can save some money and go right back out and buy the next card that you're going to take to the grave and never sell because you're not an investor and you're only a true collector? This applies to true collectors and investors. I don't own, a lot of Michael Jordan cards. If I'm going to go out and buy a 9 or a 10, I sure as hell want to take a look at the pops of each respectively and how much their prices are before I make a decision whether or not to pay a PSA 10 premium. I know a lot of you guys watching are going to be ready, fingers pumping, blood running, ready to jump in the comments and say, this is why PSA 10s are stupid. Maybe they are, maybe they aren't. But this is just more fuel to the fire for this conversation about whether the PSA 10 premium is appropriate in this case, especially on these 5 cards. So the first card that I've shared here is the card that tells the whole story, right? This is the PSA 10. This card, I've got a teardrop because I no longer own my PSA 10 copy. This card is about, we'll say 177. It's been going 180 to 225, right? But we'll say it's $177,000. It looks to be steadily under $200,000 the last 1, 2, 3, maybe 7 sales, something like that. So maybe it is a little bit on the decline. But the PSA 10 is a pop 332. It's $177,000. The PSA 9 is not cheap. It's not cheap. It's a used car. It's $19,999. That might be a damn new car if you're buying a Kia or something like that, or maybe a Hyundai. That is an 8-to-9 ratio, right? So when you look at this card and you think 86 Fleer PSA 10, you think huge premium over PSA 9. Well, based on the cards we're going to see in today's video, that's really not a huge premium. It's less than half of the multiple for the 5 cards that we're going to look at today. Are you ready? Do you think you know card number 1? I'll give you another hint. All 5 of these cards are greater than 20x to jump from PSA 9 to PSA 10. All 5 of the cards that we're going to look at, or stickers, are greater than 20x price difference from PSA 9 to PSA 10. All right, card number 1, here we go. A card we all know and love. You guys should better damn remember this card. This is a hierarchy card. It's one of Jordan's earliest inserts. It's a card that old folks like me were looking for back in 1992. Unfortunately, I was probably collecting Juan Gonzalez or Frank Thomas or something stupid instead of Michael Jordan cards. But one of his earliest inserts, 1992 Fleer Total D, same year that the Beam team came out. Scoring Kings came out the next year. This is one of the cards that started it all. 1992 Fleer Total D. The PSA 10 is a $10,800 card, and it is a card that looks to be trending upwards, right? Up 36% over the last 2 years. There's been 5 sales. This is a steady upward trend, with the last sale being at or near the top of $10,800, only a pop 29. So how much is the PSA 9 worth? Bang, $500. You can pick up a clean new PSA label copy, which is also up 31%, right? It's tracking along the exact same graph up and to the right. Pop 229, PSA 9, get you a PSA new label, and that is, ready for this, 20 times the factor, from 525 to a PSA 10, which is about 10,800, right at 20x. So there's your choice. Do you want 20 PSA 9s or 1 PSA 10? That's what you'll get for your approximately $10,500, $11,000. All right, card number 2 on our list is a card that's been in the news a lot lately. And let me tell you what, this disparity between the PSA 9 and PSA 10 a few weeks ago, a few months ago, was even more egregious, because this is a card that has come way down from the last sale. The last sale was the all-time record, and it was a 5-figure sale. The cards come back to $7,200, $6,900, somewhere around there. This card, look, sold for $10,000, $10,140. So the number I'm about to give you, the difference between the PSA 10, which is a pop 15, and the PSA 9, which is a $300 card, pop 441. The difference is, drum roll please, 24x. So 24 times to jump from the PSA 9 to the PSA 10. Why is that? Well, here's why. 0.89% gem rate. 2,272 have been graded. There's 15 PSA 10s. Just paltry gem rate, minuscule gem rate. That is going to be a common theme if we go back and look at the 92 Total D, 2.45% gem rate. I bet you the gem rate doesn't get much over 2 or 3% on any of these cards. I haven't looked at that yet, so we'll look together. Card number 3. Card number 3 with the biggest disparity between PSA 9 and PSA 10. It's not a card at all. It's actually an insert, and it's not a card. It's a sticker. It's the 1987 sticker. It's not the 86 sticker. It's the 87 sticker. The 86 sticker, believe it or not, if you're curious, I looked at that as well. It sort of tracks along the same lines as the 86 Fleer 57 rookie card. And it's about 10x, about 9 to 10x to jump from a PSA 9 to a PSA 10. The 87 Fleer sticker, however, is a pop 24. Shout out to the great Kobe Bean Bryant. This is a card that last sold for $36,600 in a PSA 10. If you ever try to grade these cards, you know it sucks. It's miserable. It is a losing endeavor. You are not going to get good results. It's just miserable. Guess what the PSA 9 is? Not $36,600, $1,300. Still a lot of money. Still tracking upward, up 8%. Huge pop, 718. But guess what? That is a 27x jump from a PSA 9 to a PSA 10. The PSA 10 is up 46%. Again, there's only been 2 sales over the last 2 years. Why? Because there's only 24 of them out there, and a lot of people that own this card ain't letting go of it because they know there's not another one that's going to be graded. What do you think the gem rate is on this not low print run card? Yeah, you guessed it, 0.21%. We're talking about 1 in, what is that? I don't know, 1 in 1,000 would be what, 0.1%? So 1 in 500 grade a PSA 10. 15,900 have been graded between PSA and BGS. Hell, there's only 8 BGS 9.5s out there as well. So you're talking about, what is that, 32 total gems in the world out of 15, almost 16,000 graded. It'll be 16,000 by the time you watch this video, I promise you that. So that's card number 3, the 87 sticker. Number 3, the 87 Fleer sticker, 27x ratio from 9 to 10. Well, this one's a little bit even more egregious from 9 to 10, and you guys may or may not recall this card. It is also a hierarchy card. It is the 1992 Fleer All-Stars number 6. And this horizontal Jordan card, again, early years, right? We've looked at a card from the 80s. We looked at the sticker from the 80s. I'm sorry, we looked at a card from 1992, the Total D. We did see the EX 2001 in there from 97, but now we're looking at another early Michael Jordan insert, and we're going to keep going with that early Jordan stuff theme because that's when cards were printed out the butt, but also super low gem percentage because they were condition sensitive because quality control at the manufacturer for Fleer or whoever was terrible back then, right? And so that's how you get these huge inordinate disparities between 9s and 10s, is when you have condition sensitive cards that they printed the hell out of, but they didn't care what they look like. This 92 Fleer All-Star Pop 11, you've got to be kidding me. This is not a rare card. Go get your hierarchy poster out, turn it over, look at the pack odds. I told you this card was printed like crazy. The PSA 10 is a $14,800 card. It's sold twice in the last 2 years. The PSA 9 is a $525 card. It has sold 41 times, shout out to Dirk Nowitzki, over the last 2 years, and it's actually drastically outperforming the PSA 10. Why? Because I think there's more demand for the 9 than the 10. Why? Because people like me don't want to go pay $14,000 for the PSA 10 when you can pick up 7 or 8 or, hold on, sit down for this, 28 PSA 9s for the same price. And so for that reason, the demand is what's pushing this card up. And by the way, if we look at the all-time chart, this is damn near the most valuable this card has ever been, even more valuable than Bubble City back in January of 2021, right? So now we're looking at a card that's $525. The highest price ever was $535. So we're right back at peak Bubble City, right, for the PSA 9. Again, 242 of them out there. Here's my guess. It's going to have a pretty dang low gem percentage, 0.83%. So now 3 out of 4 cards we have shown have less than a 1% gem rate. That means you're literally throwing darts. It's like a monkey throwing darts at a Wall Street Journal trying to pick the right stock. So 92 Fleer All-Stars is card number 4. Card number 1 obliterates all the others. It's in a whole different stratosphere as far as the disproportionate value between a PSA 9 and a PSA 10. Do you guys think that you know what that card is? We're going to stick with the sticker theme, but we're going to go back 2 more years, 2 more recent years, right? We're talking about the 89 Fleer sticker right here. This 89 Fleer sticker with the great Gerald Wilkins in the background and possibly Trent Tucker or Charles Oakley. I can't tell. But this is a 1,609 pop in PSA 9. It's $150. We could go buy, these things are on eBay. There's been 117 of them that sold in the last 2 years. You know how easy it is to buy this card? This card sells once a week, twice a week. You can go get this card at any time. I could go buy 10 on eBay right now. I'm not looking, but I can guarantee you I can go buy 10 of these right now on eBay probably. There's 1,609 of them. It's not rare, but guess what? The 10 is. The 10's a pop 84, and it's a 5,640 card. The disparity there, 37.6. 37.6 to jump from the PSA 9 to the PSA 10, which is a $5,640 sticker. Are you doing it? Is it worth it? 37.6x to get from 9 to 10. And guess what? Let's keep that theme chugging right along, 0.5% gem rate. So that's the 5 cards. The 89 Fleer sticker leading the way, the 92 Fleer All-Stars Jordan, the 87 Fleer sticker, the 97 EX 2001, just a base card right here, guys, just a base card, not an insert, not a parallel. And then, of course, the 1992 Fleer Total D, which is one of my most deliciously delightful early Jordan inserts. I love it. It's black all over the edges and the corners, so it's really, really tough to grade. That's it, guys. If you thought that the 1986 Fleer PSA 10 disparity over the PSA 9 was vast, was too much, then what do you think about these 5 cards that I just shared with you today? What camp are you in? Are you in the camp PSA 10 forever? Are you in the camp PSA 10 or bust? I want to distinguish myself. I want the PSA 10. It's going to outperform the PSA 9 long term. Are you in that camp? Or are you in the camp where I could buy 11 PSA 9s and money is going to give me a better return? That's the investor perspective. How about the collector? Can you sleep at night knowing you have a PSA 8 instead of a 9 or a 9 instead of a 10? Everybody collects differently in this hobby, and that's what's so beautiful about the hobby. I tend to pick and choose. If the PSA 10 premium is not too great, I don't mind it. I go grab a PSA 10. If the PSA 9 is 1/37th of the PSA 10, you're probably going to open my Fanatics Collect Vault and see a PSA 9 sitting in there. I want to know what camp you guys sit in. I want to know what you think about these disparities between PSA 9 and PSA 10 prices. First of all, are the gaps between 9 and 10, is it closing or is it getting greater? I think that's some research that I might do on a future video just to kind of take a look at that disparity between the two. Maybe we pick some of these cards as samples and we go back to 2015 and look at 10 versus 9, then 2019, 10 versus 9, then 2022, 10 versus 9, then now 10 versus 9, and sort of try to draw some conclusions to see if this gap between the PSA 10 and the PSA 9 is widening. Because remember, we know PSA 10 prices are going up. That's not my question, right? Are PSA 10 Jordan inserts going up? Yes, they're going up, right? Almost all of them are going up. You know, not forever. At some point we will plateau or maybe even come back. But right now they're all going up. But the question is, are they going up at a greater rate than the PSA 8s and the PSA 9s, the PSA 7s and cards like that, which so many of us collect? Let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you guys for watching the video. Hopefully this video is helpful. I'm always looking for more ideas. If you've got any other ideas of any other types of videos that you guys want to see, this one popped into my brain last night, literally at 3 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, got out of bed. I was like, well, this idea is in my brain. I am up for the day. And so I played FIFA, came to work, shot this video. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Keep collecting, stay positive in the hobby, and peace.